Guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be installing a kicker key amplifier, 200 watt amplifier into Sylvie, my 2022 Subaru BRZ, to give a little bit of power to my kicker punch speakers, because I feel like ever since I've put in those speakers, I have noticed some clipping at higher volume. So on my FRS before, when I had those speakers, I had an aftermarket head unit to kind of give those speakers the power it needed. But with this stock stereo, I don't have that power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install this, get a little bit more power, and to get, you know, better sounding music. So this is the kicker key amplifier. I'll throw a link in the description where you can get this, and as well as the two harness adapters that we're going to use, so we won't have to cut into the factory wiring of my BRZ, because I don't want to mess with any of the wires. I want to go ahead and just kind of plug and play. So I'll leave those two harnesses in the link in the description where you can find those. Alright, so I went ahead and finished up the wiring for the amplifier. This is pretty much what it should look like when you're finished. These guys pretty much get a little confusing, so I went ahead and put R for radio. This is going to go directly into the radio, and then these guys are going to be H for going into the factory harness. So let's start with the input signals. So the input signals, you know, from the radio is going to be going into the input of the kicker amplifier, just matching up the colors, purple, green, you know, of course having the purple with black, and then the green with black, just matching it up there. And then with your bigger connector that's going into the harness, you're going to match up your gray and white wires, again going into the input of the kicker amplifier. With this, I think this is the dimmer harness, or the dimmer wire, that's going to go directly into the harness of the dash. But once you're done with that, with the bigger connector, you're going to wire your red, I think that's your ignition wire. So you know, connected to the bigger harness, or the bigger factory harness. And then you're also going to connect your I want to say that's your illumination, your orange, to the harness. So just kind of like routing from the big one to the other big one of your harness, from the radio to the harness. And then once you get your ground wire, so like your black right here, you're going to want to do a T splice from your kicker amplifier into here, as well as your signal wire for the blue. So you're going to put your blues just like that, and you know, go to the kicker harness, or the kicker amplifier, of course. And then you're also going to want to connect your constant, which is going from here, to your T, which is going to the kicker, and then back into the harness itself. And then once you're done with that, you're going to go to your speaker wires again, your output speaker wires, which is your gray and your white, again going to the kicker harness. And then you also connect from this guy here to your output. So basically just going into the kicker amplifier, so your output is going directly in there. But once you're done, like I said, this is going to go into the dash harness, and then these guys are going into the radio, directly into the radio. I'm going to go ahead and try to mount the kicker amplifier somewhere underneath the radio, so you can kind of go exactly like that. All right, after a lot of trial and error, I went ahead and found out that I was missing one cable, which is the blue wire. I guess it's a remote turn-on switch. The blue wire right next to the dimmer switch, I want to say, and then right next to the other antenna, the power antenna right there. And that's just going to connect, you know, of course, going from the factory harness to the radio in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead and solder this, and we should have a working amplifier. All right, so we have the wire loom all routed on the jumper harness, and we have the kicker amp all ready to go into behind the radio. But in order to take off the radio, we need to remove this panel, And then we also have to remove a screw that sits right down there to push this panel out, so that we may remove this guy right here. We're gonna go ahead and remove all that stuff so that we can have access to the, I want to say 4 10mm bolts that are holding in this little radio, of course, with some clips at the bottom as well. Alright, so we went ahead and connected the harness back. Everything works, amp turns on, and the radio turns on. I went ahead and calibrated the amplifier using the provided microphone that was right here. You know, just putting it on the headrest, hitting the button once until I heard a couple series of beeps, and then, you know, shutting the door and making sure that pink noise was running. And then as soon as like the happy tone came on, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link in the description for the kicker setup as well, because that's kind of what I followed, and you know, kind of used their guide to set up the gains and such. I left this is my settings. I mean, you could definitely look and see what I have on, or what I don't have on, and kind of go from there. It sounds good to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw back the radio and put it exactly how it was. Alright, so I went ahead and put the radio back, but putting it back, I realized that the kicker key amplifier was not going to fit behind the radio. I know on some, without the limited trim level with this Starlink box, it might fit underneath the radio, but on this guy it did not. So what I did was I routed it right under this airbag right here. With the cables, they were long enough, luckily enough, to fit under, or to route through here. So as you can see, it's connected there. And then the smaller cable, you can't see it, but it's connected right there and it works. And I also put double-sided sticky tape underneath the amplifier so it won't move or rattle or make any noise. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw back the interior. All right, guys, so interior is all backed in, clipped in, screwed in, everything is great. So before I give you guys a sound demo, I wanted to kind of give you my first impressions with the audio system and with the amp. I really feel like this kicker amplifier has changed the audio system of my BRZ. Like I said, I did have a aftermarket radio and the same speakers on the FRS, but I never felt like it was quite tuned. So having a microphone and putting it on the headrest to tune it, I feel like I can hear certain notes that I didn't hear before, like, you know, snares and tap drums and just all these little things that I didn't really pick up on, and I feel like they also have their own direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this sound clip for you guys so you guys can enjoy some of this music.